Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to move this motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move that this House reaffirms its commitment to the nation-building tenets as enshrined in the National Pledge when debating national policies, especially economic policies. My inspiration to speak on this subject came about a month and a half ago when I was invited by B.G. Tan Chuan Jin, chairman of NDP Exco 2009, to write a piece on what the National Pledge means to me. Before that, B.G. Tan and I had discussed at some length the meaning of the pledge and why it is important that it is re-energized, become a living, breathing mantra for all Singaporeans. We lamented with a good measure of alacrity the way we used to get it over and done with in school when we had to recite it. A tradition, we gather, is held up even today. We talked about how beautifully crafted our pledge is and what a waste it is that its meaning and power is not understood enough or reflected on, let alone garnered for rallying us as a people. It was when I was writing my thoughts for the essay that I realized how powerful the pledge is and how much it means to me in spirit. The process of writing the essay was cathartic as an avalanche of memories came rushing at me. Memories, good and not so pleasant, that formed the basis of my belief system as a citizen of this country, my home. The National Pledge, I realized, contained the basis of who we are and what makes us unique. In fact, it holds the key to our success as a peaceful, harmonious, and certainly economically successful nation. And it struck me that the National Pledge is the only document, if we could call it one, that cannot be amended by a two-thirds majority in Parliament. In effect, our National Pledge is akin to the Bill of Rights in the United States of America. It defines who we are, what we aspire to remain, regardless of the realities of a fast-changing world. It is about what we stand for, our credo. It has often been said that Singapore does not have an ideology, that pragmatism is our mantra and modus operandi. But if we examine our National Pledge closely, it is our national ideology. A set of inalienable values, precepts that demand adherence in the face of the lure of pragmatism. It is designed to serve as a moral compass for us as a people. We lose it, ignore it, or misabuse it to our peril. The stability provided by the National Pledge gave us, especially our government, the confidence to take decisive steps, make quantum leaps, rapidly shift gears or change directions to keep us moving with the currents, knowing very well the boat is even-keeled and won't capsize. As such, the value of the pledge comes into sharp relief not when the going is good, but when we are facing tough challenges, be it the current economic challenges or SARS a few years ago. During these times, when scarcity is the order of the day, the centripetal forces of race, religion, language, and class go into overdrive. Our instincts and impulses become primordial. It is during these times that our mettle, our resilience as a nation is tested. We did well during the SARS outbreak, and we appear to be working together fairly well to get through the current economic crisis. But the fault lines remain. What if we were to face a national crisis today that is not based on economic or health issues, but on race and religion, as we experienced in the race riots of '64? Are we confident our national impulses are entrenched enough to override the divisive, primordial instincts? If the situation worsens and our livelihood and survival as a country is in doubt, would we have enough Singapore citizens, let alone PRs, digging in our heels, come what may, because this is our home? I wish I could say with absolute certainty the answer is yes. The truth is, I'm not sure. Look at the results of a scientific survey done in 2007 by the Singapore Polytechnic. 800 Singaporean youth between the ages of 15 and 29 were polled. They all went to Singapore schools and attended national education sessions as required. 37% of the youths polled said categorically that they are not patriotic. More than 50% said they would migrate if given a chance. The findings of this survey are not very different from many others conducted with youths, younger working adults, overseas Singaporeans, and even national servicemen. I read a July 2009 article in Asia1.com that quoted a major survey by Experiences 2009, the organizer of an annual US education convention, that highlighted that of the 153 Singaporean students studying overseas polled, 79% prefer to work in the USA after they graduate. And earlier this year, at Chun Cheng High School's 70th anniversary celebration, Senior Minister Goh Chok Tong revealed that more than 1/5 of the students who performed well in the A-level examination between 96 and 99 are no longer working in Singapore today, a decade later. Now, even though these findings may not be surprising for some of us, they must certainly become a cause of concern. To me, the biggest challenge we face as a nation is not so much the sluggish GDP growth or flight of capital. It is not about whether we have enough able bodies here to create economic prosperity, but whether we have enough hearts and souls committed enough to make this home not just a convenient place to live, work, and play. We need to ask ourselves if we are an ink or a nation. If we are content to define ourselves as an ink, then our focus should be on the top and bottom lines and ensuring shareholder returns in quantifiable terms. But if we want to be defined as a nation, then it is imperative that we balance quantifiable outcomes and technical KPIs with emotion-based outcomes such as racial and religious harmony and peace and happiness. To achieve this, society needs to place a premium on and reward commitment, comradeship, and conviction, qualities that provide the resilience needed to face a sea of troubles, that remain consistent regardless of the fortunes of the day, that form the ultimate buffer against uncertainties during tumultuous times. This is a key point highlighted most lucidly by our Prime Minister 2 days ago in his National Day rally speech. The tenets of the National Pledge point to what we need to do to build and sustain this resilience, this tenacity, this self-efficacy. But it will not serve us well if we merely pay lip service to the pledge and recite it as a ritual without internalizing what it means. We need to give our national pledge the importance due to it as the ultimate glue that binds us as a people. We got a sense of the emotive power of the pledge during National Day this year when at 8:22 in the evening, the whole nation breathed it together. Many of my friends told me how emotional a moment it was for them and their family. And here you're talking about quite a lot of people who you could not possibly imagine had the capacity to think beyond the sex appeal of digits and numbers. My 10-year-old daughter, Maya, told me she felt she was saying the pledge for the first time because it was the first time she said it with feeling. My wife told me being at this year's NDP gave her hope and a stronger belief that deep down we are one united people. My business partner, who is a PR, said it made her feel Singaporean and proud of it. The emphasis on the pledge cannot be incidental or utilitarian. We need to commit to ensuring that every time each one of us recites a pledge, we say it with commitment. For this, we must ensure all citizens from young understand it beyond the words. Most importantly, we in Parliament must lead the way by demonstrating that no national policy or bill will be passed if it goes contrary to the letter or spirit of the pledge. Better still, if we can reaffirm our commitment to the tenets of the National Pledge, that they have primacy when considering national policies, especially economic policies. So what are the key tenets of the National Pledge? Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me now to take the House through each of the 4 key tenets and share my thoughts on what they mean to me and how we have fared and what we need to do to address them more going forward. Let me start with the idea of citizenship. We, the citizens of Singapore. Born in the year 1959, the year we gained self-ruling status, I've had the opportunity to experience a steady, sometimes tumultuous evolution of Singapore. And to a large extent, this has shaped my idea of citizenship and commitment to country. Seeing the strapping young Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew speak at the Fullerton Square, arguing passionately for merger with Malaysia, and then the excitement of Merdeka Day on the 16th of September 1963 when we became part of Malaysia, and learning that the hibiscus was now our national flower, witnessing the racial riots as a boy, experiencing the tense environment of the curfew, trying to figure out why our Prime Minister was in tears as he talked on black and white TV on the 9th of August about our independence, something that should normally call for celebrations. I remember the feeling of pride, even as a boy, as I watched our first National Day parade on TV in 1966 with President Yusof bin Ishak in full ceremonial attire, reviewing